We're going to be talking today about how listening to the language that you use can improve your relationship with money. And the language that you use with yourself is probably the most important thing that you can do that doesn't require any additional money to change your personal wealth. And I want to sort of share with you today four words that I hear a lot when I'm coaching individuals. Let's first of all talk about the importance of language. Why is that so important in terms of determining how you feel about money? Now, if you think about it, our relationship with money is formed at a very, very early age. There's lots of research that shows that your relationship with money grows from the age of 6 or 7 years old, which kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Because everything we learn about money is learned very much from our environments. It's learned from parents or caregivers. It's learned from movies that we watch. It's learned from conversations that are had around us growing up that we may subconsciously not even be aware of. It may be the little things that your mum or dad or caregiver said to you, like rich people are greedy, or we can't afford that, or don't be so greedy, or I want doesn't get, or don't pick up that money off the floor, it's dirty, or you have to work hard to make money. All of these things that we were exposed to growing up around money, some of those things will really support you in your relationship with money, and some of them will really sabotage you. And the way that we can understand which of those beliefs or perceptions around money are influencing how you make decisions when it comes to your personal finances is the language that you're using with yourself. Your language, if you like, is like a little gateway. It's like a torch that you're shining on your beliefs around money. And it's the easiest thing you can possibly do. There are lots of limiting words and cues that you can be aware of, but I want to share four of the ones that I most commonly hear. The first one is the word just. I just want to make an extra £1,000 this month. I just want to save an extra £200. I just want to make my first million. And this word just is limiting. It keeps us stuck in scarcity, almost like just straight away puts this lid on this expansive, open opportunity for anything to be possible by using that word just. The other word that is commonly used is only. I only want to ask for a 5K pay rise. I only want to earn X amount of money. And so the word only, again, really just limits the capability of what is possible. The word little as well, like I will set myself little goals so that I don't feel like a failure if I don't reach them. The word little as well is restrictive. And then finally, the word can't. I can't afford to buy that. I can't afford to hire a team member. I can't afford to move house. I can't afford to change my car. Straight away, all of these words, just, only, little, can't, keep us stuck in scarcity. They limit our capability. And they're also about familiarity and safety. So if you think of your language in a box, okay, the words just, only, little, and can't are inside this box. They're in a container. And the thought of allowing ourselves to ask for more or deserve to have more often doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe because it makes us feel shameful or greedy. Like, I can't earn that much money because there's people that are suffering in the world. Or it's not fair for me to ask for this because there are other people who don't have this lifestyle and I should be grateful for what I already have. And so we limit ourselves, we put ourselves in a box through the language that we use. And if we think about it, those patterns of familiarity do keep us safe. And this is why it's so easy for us to stay in a space of limiting our capability when it comes to creating more wealth. It's easier for us to play small. It's easier for us to not get visible. It's easier for us to do the same things that other people do. It's easy for us to not make more money than anyone in our house has ever earned because it keeps us feeling safe. It's familiar. Okay. And this is why the relationship that we have with money is really a mirror reflection of the relationship we have with ourselves, and a relationship that we feel in ourselves. And when I say feel in ourselves, I mean feel in the body. And if we stay completely rigid to goals and predictions that we set ourselves, we end up just judging ourselves based on what's going to happen at the end of the year or what's going to happen at the end of the quarter. And we ignore all of the amazing, unexpected shifts and progress along the way, all the curveballs that we've navigated, all the shifts that we've had to reprioritize or rebalance or rejuggle in some way, because things change. And so does our language. And so, what is the solution? One way of solving how we are limiting our capability and to have a better relationship with money, to feel better about money. When we feel better, we do better, is reframes. And I want to share with you the power of how you can go about reframing your language with your clients, if you're listening to this as a financial professional, or reframing the language that you use with yourself. So, what is reframing? A reframe is just simply looking at something in a different way, at a different angle, through a different lens. So let me give you an example of some of these reframes. So number one, how many times have you heard yourself say, I failed at reaching my financial targets last year? How many of you have heard yourself say, I feel guilty that I didn't complete the projects I planned? Or how many of you say things like, I'm just terrible at money. I can't afford it. I'm only going to set myself small goals so I don't fail. I can't make any changes to my business in case I lose clients. How many of you hear yourself saying things like that? So let's invite some reframes to some of these limiting sentences, the language that is being expressed in some of these situations. And then I'm going to set you a little challenge. So I failed at reaching my financial targets last year. One way of reframing that is to say, I am proud of what I have achieved last year, which may be non-financial progress. And I'm excited to plan a new strategy or technique to reach my targets in 2023. Can you see the difference there? It's very positive in the language that we're using. I'm proud of what I've achieved this year. I'm excited to refocus or replan in order to reach my goals for 2023. It invokes much more empowerment of what is possible. What about that second one? I feel guilty that I didn't complete the projects that I planned to do, or I feel guilty that I didn't do all the things that I wanted to do. So we can reframe this by saying, I trust that I completed the projects that I was meant to last year. And I know it's okay for my priorities to shift. And how much more empowering does that feel to say, like, it's okay for things to change. It is okay. It is safe for me to step into a place of trust that I completed what I was meant to complete because I had other priorities, or I decided to direct my energy and attention somewhere else. Much more empowering. What about this one? I can't afford it. I think everybody on the planet says this a lot. Like, I can't afford it. I just can't afford that holiday. I can't afford this house. I can't afford this. And we often say it to our kids, don't we? Like, no, we can't afford that. And there may be an element of truth to this, right? Maybe you can't afford to buy the house, the dream house right now. Maybe you can't afford to buy your kids the latest iPhone. But just a simple change of narrative from I can't afford it to I will put a plan in place to generate the funds or realign my spending. So often if my kids say, like, I want the latest iPhone, I'll be like, great, let's make a plan for that. And it invokes this opportunity thinking, this growth mindset, as opposed to, oh, we can't afford that, which might be true. It might be that I don't have a little pot set aside for that. I haven't put that into my financial plan. And even though I might want to support them in that purchase, I would show them that it's something that is possible. Let's have a look at how we can realign our spending to make that possible. let's have a look at our savings goals and readjust. It really is supportive for children as well to not just simply say no, but how could we work together to make this possible? Or how could you start saving some of your pocket money so we can make this happen? And it's also useful because it invokes this kind of delay, this kind of instant gratification of everything has to be done immediately. What about this one? I am only going to set small goals in 2023 so that I don't fail. This is a really common one, isn't it? Like, we get so afraid of making big things possible, thinking big. We're not even really taught to think big. Like, we think big as kids, don't we? We're born into a life of, into your life. And as children, just anything is possible for kids. If you listen to toddlers or 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, they're like, anything is possible. The fear is so much less as a young child than it is as adults. And it's because of circumstances and situations that we have faced in our lives that have created this perception of what is possible. And again, going back to what I was saying earlier, it keeps us stuck in patterns of familiarity. So rather than I'm only going to set these small goals so that if I fail, I won't feel so bad, maybe it's reframing that to I am empowered to set a variety of good, better, and best goals for myself this year. So maybe if you want to launch a podcast and you're afraid to say, I want it to be a number 1 show, then set yourself a best goal of number 1. A better might be number 10, and a good might be top 50. So that no matter what happens, there's always a sense of achievement in what you've committed to do for yourself this year. And let's do one final one before I set you a little challenge. So what about this one? I can't make any changes to my business in case I lose clients. I can't increase my fees in case my clients don't want to pay extra money. This is a big one. So let's reframe this. I can't to I trust that any changes I make will align for my ideal clients. I trust that any changes I make will align for my ideal clients. Your business is going to evolve. You're going to evolve. You might have set your prices 5 years ago when you just started your business, and now you've got a bunch of testimonials. You're more confident in your ability. Maybe you've built a team now. That's really empowering, isn't it? To think about what you have created. I was thinking about this the other day, actually, thinking we had a client who had been in one of our programs for a couple of months. She had enjoyed some of the support, the calls, the content in our program, and her circumstances changed and she wanted a refund. And it was a really, really hard conversation, which I don't normally get involved in these conversations anymore. But she reached out to me and dropped me a message on Facebook, and I was like, oh, God, like, how awful that she's going through this situation. And my gut feel was, oh, like, let's just give her what she needs to support her. And then I thought, no, because first of all, like, she's had access to all this amazing content, but also it would be a disservice to my other students who have committed to that program. And also that income is paying my team. So by thinking about the impact, the bigger impact, I was like, no, because I feel empowered to use some of the income in the business to pay my team. Like, my team, that's affecting their livelihood and their lifestyle. If suddenly, we just started to give everyone refunds, for example. And it was a really powerful reframe for me of the importance of, like, sticking to your terms and conditions and setting those boundaries for your clients that actually, well, could we support you in this way? Could we give you a payment pause, or could we do this? But actually still sticking to the conditions of your programs or your terms and conditions, because it's ethical to do that for all of your other students and is going to support you to be able to continue to pay your staff. And so that powerful reframe really helped me to go back with confidence to that client to say, look, let's support you in this way. Because, we can't control everybody's situations. And of course, it's awful, isn't it, when you have a client who is in a situation when you want to help them, but sometimes the help isn't something that you can provide and it has to be taken from elsewhere. So think about that in your reframes. I can't make those changes because I might lose clients. I can't increase my prices in case people say no. Is to step into that place of, I trust that any changes I make will align for my ideal clients. So the challenge I want to set you today is I want you to write down anything that you hear yourself saying for the next 7 days where it feels like you're limiting yourself. So write those words down, just, only, little, or can't. And every time you hear yourself say one of those words, just say out loud, awareness, awareness. What is this telling me about myself? Where is the fear really? And is that fear real? Or can it be reframed in a way that makes me feel more empowered rather than limited? So I'd invite yourself to look at these words with yourself over the next 7 days. Please do feel free to share with me anything that comes up. And if you're a financial professional listening to this and you want to learn more about how you can support your clients and their relationship with money, then we have something coming up actually for you at the end of this month, where we're inviting some of our students to come into our Foundation Financial Coaching Tools program, which is a program we've created especially for those of you that want to just take a little step into financial coaching and discover what that could look like for your clients and for your business. I'll pop that in the show notes. So have an amazing rest of your week, guys, and I will see you again next week.